You meant to say one thing, and a completely different word came out of your mouth. Everyone laughs. You laugh too, and you move on. But some part of you clocks that the wrong word was oddly specific. Later, people would name that exact kind of slip after the man who insisted it meant something. The Freudian slip. You are afraid of something that by any reasonable account cannot actually hurt you. You have tried logic on it. Logic has never once won. And then there is the dream that felt like it meant something, even though nothing in it actually made sense. You wake up, and the feeling outlasts the images by hours, heavier than anything that actually happened that day. You file all three under noise: a tired tongue, an old habit, a resting brain doing nothing in particular. 130 years ago, one Viennese doctor insisted that was the single most expensive mistake you could make about your own mind. Sigmund Freud was a neurologist in Vienna, trained to look at the physical brain, not the invisible mind. Sigmund Freud. Treating patients whose symptoms had no physical cause convinced him medicine alone could not explain what he was seeing. So he proposed something the medicine of his era found almost offensive: that most of your mental life happens without your permission or your knowledge. The conscious mind, the part you call you, is only a thin-lit surface over something much larger working underneath it at all times. That was the revolution. Not that people have secrets, but that the mind keeping them is not the mind you think is in charge. To make that claim usable, Freud first mapped the mind by what you can and cannot reach. At the surface, the conscious. Whatever you are aware of right now, this sentence, this room, this thought. Just beneath it, the preconscious. Not in view this second, but one thought away, like your phone number or where you park. And beneath both, the unconscious. Memories, urges, and conflicts you cannot summon by simply trying, no matter how hard you try. A childhood fear you cannot explain. A pattern in who you fall for. A flinch with no memory attached to it. That is the unconscious working in daylight. None of that makes you irrational for no reason. It is a lower layer of the same mind quietly doing its own work. 3 layers. Not by size on a page, but by how much of your own mind you can actually reach on command. Later, Freud added a second map. This time not by what you can reach, but by what is fighting inside you. He called the first player the ID. Raw appetite, no patience, no manners, wanting what it wants the moment it wants it. The ID runs on what Freud called the pleasure principle. Satisfy the urge now, and worry about the cost later, if at all. Against it stands the superego, the internalized voice of your parents, your culture, your conscience, telling you what you are allowed to want. The superego does not negotiate. It judges, and when you cross it anyway, it hands you guilt as the bill. Between those two extremes stands the ego, the mediator, trying to satisfy the ID without provoking the superego, inside the limits of the actual world. The ego runs on the reality principle, not never, and not right now, but here is a version you can actually have. Picture the whole cake on the counter after a long, hard day. The ID wants to eat the entire thing standing at the counter, right now, with your hands. The superego is already disgusted with you for even wanting it, and quietly starts drafting the guilt. The ego is the one who actually shows up, cuts a reasonable slice, puts the rest away, and eats it sitting down. Or picture wanting credit for an idea in a meeting. The ID wants to grab it loudly. The superego calls that shameless. And the ego finds a sentence that claims it honestly, without either extreme. That small negotiation, appetite, conscience, and a workable compromise, is running underneath decisions you make dozens of times a day. Underneath all 3 of those, Freud proposed, runs an engine, a form of psychic energy he called libido. Not just sexual desire in the narrow sense, but a broader driving force behind ambition, attachment, creativity, and appetite alike. Freud believed this energy has to go somewhere, expressed, redirected, or dammed up, but never simply switched off. Dam that energy up long enough, Freud argued, and it does not vanish. It resurfaces sideways as exactly the kind of slip, fear, or dream you recognized at the start of this video. We will come back to exactly how this energy develops over a lifetime in a later episode, so hold the idea lightly for now. So the ego has a hard, constant job, managing the tug-of-war between appetite and conscience without breaking under the strain. To do that job, Freud proposed, the ego keeps a toolkit of unconscious strategies, ways of managing conflict that you never consciously choose. He called them defense mechanisms, and they are the reason the same underlying conflict can show up as a joke, a headache, or a grudge. Denial that refuses to see a problem, rationalization that explains away a mistake, projection that spots your own flaw in someone else first, all are the same toolkit at work. We are not opening that toolkit today. That is its own full episode, but plant the idea now. Your mind is already using it, constantly, quietly. Now, the honest part, because Freud deserves scrutiny, not worship, and not dismissal either. Start with what holds up. Modern cognitive science and neuroscience are genuinely clear that unconscious mental processing is real. Priming studies, implicit bias research, and decision science all show the same thing Freud insisted on. Most of the mind runs below awareness. That single idea, that you are not the sole author of your own behavior, was decades ahead of the science that would eventually catch up to. Now, the honest limits. That ID, ego, and superego you just watched fight over the cake are not three brain regions. No scan has ever found them. They are a useful story about the mind, not a map of it. And that gap between useful story and literal anatomy trips up even people who should know better. His psychosexual stage claims and his interpretive methods for dreams fare worse still, not considered rigorously testable by today's scientific standards. The philosopher Karl Popper made a famous case against all of it. A theory that can explain literally any behavior after the fact is not making a real prediction at all. Not everyone agrees even on that. Some philosophers argue Freud did make testable predictions. They simply tended to fail when someone actually tested them. Long-term psychoanalytic therapy itself remains genuinely debated in modern outcome research. Useful for some, unproven at scale for others. So, the honest verdict. The core intuition that unconscious forces shape you has real support. Many of the specific mechanics remain unproven. So hold both halves honestly. A real, evidenced insight about how minds work and a specific clinical system still worth questioning. Freud's real gift was not a finished science. It was a starting question. What if the reasons you actually do things are not the reasons you tell yourself? And what if that gap is worth taking seriously? This week, notice one moment where your behavior did not match your stated intention. The snack you swore off, the reply you did not mean to send. Do not judge it, and do not explain it away either. Just get curious about what might be underneath it. This series will walk through the pieces one at a time. First, repression. The mind's habit of pushing what it cannot handle out of you entirely. Second, the full defense mechanism toolkit we only glanced at today, opened up properly. Third, dreams, and a more careful look at what they might and might not actually be telling you. Fourth, development, how the drives and conflicts of childhood echo forward into the adult you became. Fifth, where Freud and his student Carl Jung finally broke apart, and what each man saw that the other could not. Each one is a piece of the same map you just learned today, applied to one specific place where it usually shows up first. Not a diagnosis, not a verdict. A room beneath the room you already live in, worth a closer look. That is where the unconscious mind begins.